Hi there and welcome. My name is Jack and I'm the head coach and founder here at Empowered Breath. So I'm just going to welcome you to this presentation, Harness Your Flow, why all high performers need breath work. And high performers here could indicate anyone from an athlete to a top level business person. You know, high performers exist in every walk of life. And I believe that they would all benefit enormously from breath work. So obviously I said before, my name is Jack, and I'm an ex-international athlete who was forced to stop playing due to mental health challenges. I've since spent the past 5 years in a deep healing process and have learned quite a lot. I am now ready to combine my two fields of expertise, sporting performance and personal development. The time has come for me to share what I have learned while taking you to the next level. Now, you may be wondering, what on earth is breathwork and how could I possibly need it as a high performer? So I'm just going to run you quickly through the table of contents here. So we're just going to go over a bit of the history and the general benefits before going into the 9-pronged approach. So there are 9 areas here which all high performers benefit from, which specifically breathwork practices help with. So just going to leave you with this here for a second before we move on. Focus, regeneration, resistance, intuition, adaptability, presence, mindset, growth, and spirit. The 9 aspects of the breath. So just a quick history of breath work. So breathing and by extension breath work is as ancient as time itself. We have been using breathing techniques since the first child was born. You know, my partner is 8 months pregnant at the moment, and the biggest thing she's been learning is the power of the breath and how the breath is what guides childbirth. So it is the breath that brings us into this world, and it's the breath that takes us out. Over the millennia, humans have experimented with the breath, recording their astounded observations. So these are people like the ancient Chinese, the Taoists, the Zen masters of Japan, the yogis, you know, even in indigenous cultures, in the Amazon and in North America, there are breath practices which bring them deeper into connection with who they are. And in more recent years, breath masters like Wim Hof have brought these ancient practices back into the spotlight. So what Wim Hof has done is he's breaking all these records all the time, and he's doing it through his breathing and through the way he controls his breath. It's fascinating. So just a few fun facts. You breathe around 20,000 times a day. You know, is there anything else you do that many times a day and you don't harness it in some capacity? It is one of the only automatic processes you can harness, the only other one being conscious blinking. And ultimately, life is simply a series of inhales and exhales. You come into life on an inhale, that big gasp of air, and you leave on that final exhale. And everything in between is just inhales and exhales. So what are the benefits? Well, I'm just going to list a few here because there are too many and your brain would actually overload if I listed them all. But a few big ones is stress and anxiety reduction, emotional regulation, respiratory function and health, mindfulness and meditation. So you get all the benefits of these practices as well, blood pressure regulation, and much, much more. So on target always. So the breath can really help us find our focus and to tap into our focus better and better. So one aspect of this is sharpening your mind. Having a breath practice can help you to focus. If you can focus on one point, you sharpen your mind. One point, sharpen your mind, and that point is your breath. And that brings us on to practice paying attention. So when you're paying attention to your breath, you're practicing paying attention. So then when a situation arises in life where you need to pay attention, it's much easier because you've already practiced. And through paying attention to yourself and your breath, you begin to know thyself. You begin to see what things trigger different breathing patterns, what makes you feel stressed. Your breath tells you everything about yourself. And when you pay attention to it, it's like reading your own book, which brings you into being the bigger picture. You see your life as the book, not the page or the story that you're in. You see your life as this big book of experiences, of inhales and exhales, which allows you to respond instead of react. And this is the key thing. It's your response ability which marks you out as a high performer. As a high performer, you can't react to situations because you'll make a mistake. You must be ready to respond at all times. And when you're ready to respond at all times, your action becomes effortless. It just happens because you're ready. It doesn't matter what situation you're in, you're just ready to go. And that effortlessness will translate into anything. Stem cell production. So this is all about regeneration, because you can stimulate stem cell production in your own body through breathing practices. So one example of this is what's known as intermittent hypoxic training. And this is where you breathe in a certain way and then you pause your breath or hold your breath on an exhale and you begin to simulate altitude. So your body then takes on the characteristics of being high up a mountain and all the benefits that come with that. And some of those benefits happen to be stem cell production, increase of red blood cells, of hemoglobin, all the benefits people were using blood doping for, you can get through breathing, which is just mind-boggling. And you might be thinking, well, why isn't this common knowledge? Well, it's because of Soviet era studies. The Soviet Union did some mad studies on athletes, on humans, using the principles of intermittent hypoxic training and altitude simulation to have astounding physical results. But unfortunately, when the Soviet Union collapsed, all the science that happened there was swept under the rug. And it's only now, 40 odd years later, that we're figuring this out. And so what stem cell production does, it means you can heal from inside. So as an athlete, for example, if you've got an injury, you'll be getting treatment from a physio, and that physio might tell you this is going to be 3-4 weeks. And that's because you're only getting external treatment. If you can begin stimulating your stem cells to heal you from the inside, pairing that with the physio, I believe that your healing time will be shorter. You will be regenerating quicker because your body will be actively in a state or process of regeneration. And this is you simply harnessing your nature. When you're in the womb, in your mother's womb, you are pure stem cells. That's why you grow. And as you get older and older, once you're out of the womb, you sort of lose those stem cells. You lose that access because you're not in a hypoxic chamber, which is what the womb is. So the only way to do this is either to go to a hypoxic chamber and pay, it's quite expensive, or to get stem cell therapy, again, very expensive, or you could harness your body, the gift from nature, and produce stem cells yourself. Fantastic. Break boundaries. So this is all about resistance, As a high performer, you're all about getting that extra 10%, pushing past that boundary where you didn't think you could quite go. The breath takes you there. Having a strong breath practice where you break boundaries on a micro level allows you to break boundaries on the macro level when they arise. So if you have got a blockage in your life, say it's a target, a business ambition, and you can't quite reach it and you don't know what it is, if you can breathe into that and learn how to break that boundary through the breath, you will get there. And the reason you will get there is because you are optimizing your recovery. You cannot push if you do not relax. There is a push and a pull to life, and often when we're high performers, we're always pushing. The breath can allow us, through a conscious practice, to physiologically relax. So our nervous system and our body will relax, and as a result, our mind will relax, which brings us into optimal recovery. And when we're in this recovery and activity, and we're walking together, left, right, we begin to explore our potential, because all of a sudden we have balance. If you're able to push and pull, You're in control of your life instead of pushing until you burn out or you get injured and you're forced to recover. But actually, burnout and injuries is just your body or your mind saying, you need to recover. What are you doing? So this is all about finding your potential and harnessing your body. And once you do all that, then you can dance on the edge. You can push your edges. You can go, how hard can I perform as long as I know I'm relaxing afterwards? And you dance that edge and you will go places you never thought were possible. Tap into flow. So this is all about intuition. So this is kind of I guess, a more invisible aspect of the breath, but something very tangible and something which all the high performers will acknowledge as something that's very important to their process, because intuition is your creativity. And as a high performer, you've got to be creating at all times. You need to be innovating. You need to be figuring out new ways to kick a ball, to spin it, get it into the back of the net, whatever it is, you need to be creative about it so that you can be different. And when you're really creative, your spontaneous action becomes incredible because you are attuned, you're ready to respond to your environment, and you get into this effortless flow state where you're just in a state of pure creation. So if you've watched some of the best athletes in the world, they're not thinking about what they're doing. They are simply in the flow of that activity. And that's where they get this innovative problem solving, because they're tapped into their intuition. They're trusting the guidance that's coming through their body in the moment, live feeds, and solving problems. And with this, you get this crazy authenticity and originality. You know, think again of a really amazing footballer, you know, say Pele, for example. He played a way that no one has ever played. You know, he's not a bog standard player. He played with authenticity and originality, which is what gave him the wow factor. But he will tell you himself, he played with intuition. He didn't play that way because he was told to. And this is what the breath can do. You know, it can take away all the distractions and bring you into this flow. The response ability. So this is all about your adaptability, the way you respond to your environment. So often we're taught to react to our environment. You know, something happens, you just react, gut instinct, whatever it is. But actually, that's not very conducive for us. It's much better to be able to respond, because then you have control, you have choice, and you have the choice of flow. And this also gets you into the habit of letting go of your limiting beliefs, because when you're reacting from a place of limiting beliefs. You're reacting because you believe a certain thing is about to happen. You believe that thing's going to happen, so you're reacting as if it will. If you're responding, you're acting completely different. You're harnessing yourself at all times. You're going, I'm choosing, I'm empowered, and I'm going to choose. And this helps you to release your external attachments because you're no longer worried about what other people think you should be doing. You're very focused on your authentic presence and making do with what you've got, not trying to look at everyone else, not trying to copy them, responding to your situation with your experience and going from there. The power of now. So this bit's all about presence, because with presence, we are tuned in. We are locked into our reality. We are here. And when we're here, we're not in the future. We're not in the past. All of our energy is in this present moment, and it's enormous. You know, the best athletes and the best high performers, they're not thinking or worrying about what happened yesterday or 5 years ago. They're not overly concerned with what's going to happen in 3 days or 5 years. They might have a course they've set, but the focus is on the present moment, because that is where pure creativity is. The pure essence of creation is in this moment. And when you can integrate this awareness, this presence, you're really able to encourage your own potential to just blossom. It just comes out because you're ready. You're ready to receive in this present moment the gifts of yourself. You're not worrying about anything else. You are present. And then when you're present, you begin to explore this moment, because this moment is astounding. It is beautiful, and it will take you so much deeper into whatever your given skill is, that you will just become the ultimate at whatever you're doing. positive psychology. So this is all about mindset. And, breathing practices are great because it helps you to know what you want. When you can really breathe into something and breathe with something, you will know whether you want that or not. And you can become really clear on your goals. When you become clear on your goals, you can make it happen because you are direct. You know where you want to go. You're not going to worry about how you're going to get there. You know what you want. And you're going to keep taking the steps that you need. Believing in yourself is the first step of everything. Once you believe in yourself and you know what you want, take action and breathe. The breath will take you into that action. It will pull you there. It will say, you're going to do this now, the same way it drags me to do this. And then one step at a time, you will build to your dream goals, your dream life, whatever it is you wish to achieve in this life, you will get there. Creating momentum. So this is all about growth. So the one catch with a breathwork practice is it has to be a daily practice. Now, you as a high performer shouldn't have a problem with that. I would imagine you already have some daily routines or habits which you use to encourage your high performance. So just adding the breath on top of that and the power of daily commitment, you could take yourself much further. And the reason for this is you will be showing up. You'll be showing up for yourself, knowing that the breath is the thing that is going to help you more than anything. And you committing to that means you're showing up and you're making the right choices. And when you show up and you make the right choices, you start to reach your goals because life can see that you're focused. Life can see that you're serious about what you want. You know what you want and you're going to do it. And then you get to harness your dreams because you're going to walk the walk, you're going to talk the talk, and you're going to get to the place that you want to be, all because you can breathe and know exactly who you are. Finding yourself, spirit. So the breath can really help you to discover your why. Why is it that you do what you do? Why is it that you're able to perform at the level you perform at? Is it your ikigai? And if it's not, this could be something to look into. Ikigai is a Japanese concept for your perfect task in life, if you will. And this is a task which can evolve over time. So if, for example, if you're an athlete towards the end of their career and looking for the next thing, sitting with the breath and finding that space can be really powerful to help you move on to your next ikigai, which could allow you to perform at even higher levels than you ever have before because you're armed with the breath. And when you find yourself through the breath, you're blocking out the noise. You block out the haters. You block out the doubts, the worries. You're focused. You're present. You are here and you know. And that's all you need. From there, you can build whatever you want in this life. It really isn't that complicated. All that life is asking of you is that you are radically honest with yourself, your loved ones, and anyone around you. Be who you are. Encourage your own authenticity. And through that process, you will encourage others to be authentic. But it is through a deep practice with the breath that you find this and you really begin to explore who you are on a much deeper level than you probably ever would have thought of before. And at the same time, you're getting all these benefits in your performance and actually reaching levels you never thought were possible. So this is the gift of the breath. So thank you for sitting with me through this presentation. I really hope you were able to take something away from this. And, maybe if you just go and explore breathwork on your own, that's totally cool. This is something that is free. You can explore your breath whenever you want. But if you are interested in hiring a breath coach to show you how to harness your human potential, then that's what we're all about here at Empowered Breath. So if this is something that you feel called for, please contact me either via email, jackeGriffin@protonmail.com, or connect with me on social media at e_g_jack. And you can find me at the moment on Instagram and Twitter/X. I hope you have a beautiful day, and remember, take a breath.